Okay, okay, okay. All right, we are live. Okay. Interview with Nikita. Nikita, former uh, former client of single you single. What's up, Instagram? What's up, Facebook? Single you. Just typing here on Instagram real quick the title of what I'm doing. Academy. Her testimonial. Her testimonial. I'm really excited about today because I have I hate to say former client because it just sounds like, and we're done. We don't talk anymore. And I talk to her often. But I have a testimonial today from one of my clients, Nikita. And we are going to talk to her. Just give me 2 seconds to set this up. Oops. What's up? What's up? What's up? Just setting everything up. I'll start here in a minute. See, what's up, Instagram? I'm going to be talking with a client of mine, Nikita, who went through Single You Academy, and we're going to talk about her journey, her testimonial through Single You Academy, and obviously, it's what you can gain from Single You as well. So, if you've been interested in why women join Single You Academy and the growth that they get out of it, oh, today is the day. Okay, so I'm just setting everything up here on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, 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 okay. All right. So if you're watching on Instagram, you will not be able to see Nikita. Instagram, when I do live, it's more of a behind the scenes. I like to get the video footage. That works best on TikTok and Instagram, to be honest. But if you want to see Nikita, you're going to have to go to my Facebook page, and that is in the link in my bio here on Instagram. You can click it, boom, you will be directed to my Facebook page, and then you will see both Nikita and I. Now, you're going to hear Nikita if you want to watch here on Instagram the whole way through. You'll hear her, but you will not see her. Okay, sound good? Okay. All right, here we go. I am so honored and excited to have one of my favorite clients. I hate to say I have favorite clients, but there are some that truly, truly do stand out. And watching their growth and the shackles fall off in real time. The shackles being the weight of being single, the shackles being in this cycle of dysfunction with men, the cycles being feeling like you're a failure because you're single and that something must be wrong with you because you're not getting the guy, quote unquote, that you want, right? So those are my ideal clients, and watching the shackles fall off of you in real time when I'm your coach is amazing. It is a blessing to me, and it's always a reminder that I am on the right path. When I got out of my abusive relationship in 2017, I felt that God had told me, I will use your story. And I felt that in this season in my life, he wants me to be a light for single women and preach the good news, the gospel. I am a faith-based program, and I believe that a lot of us faith-based Black women did not get a lot of teaching and wisdom when it comes to this lane of relationships, not only with yourself and self-love and self-care, but relationships with men. And I'm going to, here's a scripture for you. Wisdom is worth much more than gold. Understanding is worth much more than silver. And those are things that we do not seek out, that we are not intentional by. So the things that we focus on to get a man is getting our eyebrows done, getting our weave, going to Tulum, buying all of these products that we put on our body, and we are not intentional about what we are putting in our body. The Bible talks about be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you need to renew your mind, and you need to get wisdom in this lane. If you're in this space of, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm sick of these relationships, and I literally think there's something wrong with me because I'm single and I need help. And that help needs to be intentional, guided help. because your advice from friends, okay, you watching these gurus on social media, they're not helping. You can be full of inspiration and ignorance at the same time. That is why you can know by memory when people show you who they are, believe them, and yet and still you're passing up red flags and falling for potential and being in these relationships that do nothing for you but pull you down. All right, so let's get you some wisdom today. My client Nikita can explain what I did for her in Single You Academy better than I can, so let's bring her to the room. Nikita,
yay!
What's up, what's up, what's up? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thank you so much for saying yes when I said,
of course.
Would you? Yeah, I just, a lot of people, they just don't know what happens inside of Single You Academy. And like I just said, you can explain it better than I can, right? Like I know what I'm doing. I have my program. It's I got it together. But when I hear your words and the testimonial and watch the shackles fall off of you in real time, I want people to see. I want people to hear what we did inside of Single You Academy. And so thank you so much again. I'm honored to have you on Single You, the podcast. Yay. All right. So let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about, first of all, who are you? I know you're in education. So kind of tell the people who you are. Who is Nikita?
I am a writer. I'm sorry, let me go back. I am a Black woman writer. I'm a Black woman feminist. I'm a Black woman creative. I'm a Black woman educator. I'm from ATL, Georgia, but I'm currently, thugging it out in Kansas. And I am just somebody who, I love life, and I want to do this thing called life, being the best version of myself. And so that is what I feel like you gave me, more wisdom to continue to do that. So I'm very excited to have this conversation because you are thebomb.com.
You are too, girl. Right back. It takes one to know one, right? It takes one to know one. So as Nikita said, this girl lives in Kansas. Okay. I live in Washington State. So I really don't know how we know each other or how you got connected to me. And I do, and we're going to talk about that. I know the ins and outs, but I always say it's the grace of God because I shouldn't know you. There is no reason why you and I should know each other. There's no reason. But I say, since I took the leap of faith to do what I felt God was calling me to do, I'm always praying, God, send me the women who need to hear my voice. Just send me those. I can't save every woman. I can't. But the ones that need to hear my voice, send them to me. And let me tell you, God sent you to me or me or something. I don't know. So tell that story, right? Tell the story of, how did you find me? Like, what the heck? How did you
Exo Nicole had you in an article. It was back in March. And I remember seeing the article on Facebook because I bookmarked it. When you at work, sometimes you be like, oh, So I was like, let me bookmark this. And I'm going to read it later. And I read it later. And the title of the article was Singleness is Not a Punishment. And I was like, I need to read this because your girl is feeling some kind of way right now. And so I read the article and it talked about you and what you do. And, you have a podcast. And so I started listening to your podcast. And I think at that point, I feel like you had like 20 or so episodes. So I started from the beginning.
Did you?
Like I literally started from the beginning. And I would wake up every morning and listen to your podcast. And then I would hear you talk about your academy, and I would be like, damn, I wish I could do that. And I was like, I ain't finna do that. I'm like, girl, you don't need a coach, girl, on how to be single. You single, so you don't need that. But I remember just like listening to you, like I said, every morning I would listen to an episode. And I remember one time I sent it to my homegirl, and I was like, why is she so loud? Like, why is she beating down the block like she know what's going on? Like she in our business. And I remember me and my girlfriend, we was just like texting each other about certain episodes all day, And so that was in March. Fast forward, I went to Atlanta for the summer. My best friend got married. I was the maid of honor. We had the bachelorette. We had the wedding. It was just a lot happening. And on the way back from that, which was in July, I was listening to you. I was catching up on all your podcast episodes. And you asked again, I only got this many slots left, and I was like, I want to do that, but I don't know. I don't think I need that.
Yeah.
And then, this is a 12-hour drive. And
Yeah.
so in that drive, I always hear God like the loudest in the shower
Yep.
and in the car. And
Okay. Okay.
so
Okay.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna send her a message. And I sent you a message, and then
Yep.
me and you just started having conversation.
Yep.
And then by the time I got back to Kansas, we had set up a consultation.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then fast forward, here we
And
are.
boom. And here we are. Here we are. I want to go back to you saying, I don't need that. Right. Because I feel like that is what a lot of us Black women say
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to being intentional outside of our office space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're climbing up the ladder, okay, you'll take that extra, like, oh, I need to figure out like my personality in this business area. I need to climb up this ladder, so I need to take this extra class. But when it comes to putting intentional work in what is called our single season, we do not do that.
Mm-mm.
We don't. And I think a lot of it stems from we don't even know where to start, right? So talk about that. When you were saying that, what other feelings did you have around, I don't need this? Did you just think like, what is a coach? Like, why would I know how to be single.
I know how to be single.
Mhm.
That was the first thing. I know how to be single because I've been single for a while now. And by a while, I mean, I think my last serious committed,
Yep.
air quotes, committed relationship, I was in grad school. I think it was like 28,
Okay.
27, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't need that, right? Like, I know how to be single. I've been being single for this long. And honestly, it was some shame, like, because like when you're sick, you go to the doctor.
Yep.
When you having mental health struggles, you go talk to a therapist. And so I was like, surely I don't need to talk to somebody about how to be single because I've been doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept feeling this pressing on my spirit, like, and I remember telling God, like, if this is something that I need to do, then make a way for me to do it. Because this was right before I was getting ready to turn 35. And, I, again, witnessing my best friend get married to her, her husband.
Yeah.
And I was just like, a lot of my close girlfriends are in these, either they married, they engaged, or in a committed relationship. So I'm like, what is happening with me? And I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it now. I also had reconnected with somebody while I was in Atlanta. And I was also like, damn, this cannot be the end of it for me, right? Like, I'm recycling or reconnecting with people from my past that I, on paper, they look really well, but I don't like them as a human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, God, I want a man with good character. I want somebody who I don't have to dim my light because they are insecure, and so I'm like, maybe in my mind I was ashamed, but then I was like, maybe this could help me. Maybe I can grow. And I want to be content in singleness. And it's not that I hate it or anything like that, but the reality is the world is hard for Black women, right? And I do get lonely sometimes and all of those things, but I want the best version of what love is supposed to look like for Nikita. And I just know for me, I have not gotten that, even when we're talking about casual dating, even when we're talking about situationships and all of that. And so honestly, I was just at my wit's end, and I was like, why the hell not? Like, I've been in therapy for like a couple years now, and I've seen how that has helped me. And a lot of times as we continue to talk, I felt like you was in my therapy sessions because it felt like some of the stuff was overlapping. So I was like,
exactly. That's the best part. So we are going to get into throughout your story and throughout our 40 minutes together, 40 minutes we have left or what have you, how it was more Single You Academy, I believe. And I know that you got way more out of it than How to Be Single.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, right. So when you're on the outside looking in and you're hearing this girl named Rika say, Single You Academy is open. Let me help you learn how to set and keep boundaries with men. Let me help you discover your worth. You may be thinking, oh, I already know how to be single. I've been single. But it is about the quality of your singleness.
Yeah.
And who the woman you are becoming in your singleness to get the life and relationships you actually want. right? And so I feel like all of these gurus that you follow on social media are telling you what to do, like how to date, and this is what men want or whatever, but they're not actually telling you the woman you need to become to actually get the life and relationship that you want. And I feel like 𝘠𝘠𝘬𝘢 Academy taught you, and we're going to go into the story, the woman that you have to be to get what you actually want out of this life. Because if Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 8 says it's better to be single, don't you feel like we should investigate why?
Yes.
But we skip on over that. We get out of high school and the church and our family is like, okay, now we're the marriage and kids.
Basically, that's it. Because that is the what is it called? Like the grandiose. That's like what you should be striving for, right? Because it's like the mountaintop. It's like as a woman, you're supposed to be somebody's wife. You're supposed to be somebody's mom. And I love God. I'm gonna say that I love God. God is truly the source of who I am and has kept me. But the Black church has done a disservice to Black women in that, because once you reach 25 and you ain't got no husband, you ain't got no kids, people are like, well, why you ain't got no kids? Now, once you get to 30 and you ain't got them, you're like, what's going on? And then damn for sure, when you become my age, our age, mid 30s, it's like,
now they feel sorry for us.
Yeah, they're like, well, what's wrong, girl? It's nothing wrong. And I just think that 𝘠𝘠𝑦𝑢 helped me to realize, like, my life can look different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
say that. Talk your ish, Nikita. Okay, so I will be remiss if I forget to ask the question that I ask everyone. So let me just go ahead and say this.
Yeah, Lord, I know.
Yes. So did anyone have a conversation with you about what makes a healthy relationship versus unhealthy versus toxic versus dysfunctional?
No. Yep. No. I think I am the oldest of 3 girls, and shout out to my mom and my daddy, but my mom was a teenage mother. My story is very unique, but I think the goal was, I don't want my kids to get pregnant at an early age, so let me just focus on that. And it was a lot of don't, especially with me, like don't, and not a lot of like, well, this is why. The biggest thing was just, you don't need to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And that's it. But it wasn't no like, let's talk about sex. And like, I'm going to be honest, I kind of like taught myself all of that stuff because I'm a reader. So like, I taught myself about like, your period and what happens. And so nobody really just sat down and said, I mean, my parents said things like, obviously the basics, don't let no man hit you and all of that. But outside of that, don't get pregnant. Don't let no man abuse you.
Yep. And no other conversation. And other conversation. And that's it. Which is why we can recite all of these cliches. When people show you who they are, believe them. Know yourself. Know your worth. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. I want a God-fearing man. But we have no idea what those mean. No idea. Nor how to get it. So you talked about, I'll be taking notes, when people be talking, because I'm like, okay. So you talked about the shame that you had before you signed up for 𝘠𝘠𝑦𝑢 Academy. Talk about that. You had shame in being single. You had shame in needing help. Where was that shame? Both. Talk about that.
I think the shame is like, one, I'm 30. Well, then I was 34, getting ready to be 35. Surely I should know how to date properly and how to be in a relationship properly, right? Like I should know these things.
Right.
But I think there's something powerful to recognize, and a certain level of self-awareness to recognize that maybe you've been dating the same people in different, it's like the same shit, but in different bodies,
different name, John.
It's the same people. And just recognizing that you have allowed yourself to be mishandled. I think for me it was just a lot of shame and feeling like maybe I don't know what I'm doing, and having to admit that to myself, because your girl is, I would like to consider myself a high achiever.
Black women are.
And so
statistically is true. That's
fact. So and like, I'm out here doing my thing just from like
Mhm.
a creative standpoint and
Yep.
being an educator and, me being an advocate of like social justice and all of that. And so it's just like, surely I'm talented and gifted, but why can't I? This one area of my life is really causing me a lot. One, it's causing me a lot of frustration,
Yeah.
a lot of like self-doubt, and all those pieces.
Mhm.
And so, and then being at this age and not being on that trajectory of, giving my parents a son-in-law, because,
Right.
again, I'm the oldest, but all of me and my sisters, we're all, of age, but we're all single. And, my
Yeah.
parents, they say that, but it's also one of those things of like, I want that, but I don't want it to the point where I would just go out here and get anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I was excited to tap in a little deeper and figure out, like, because I'll be honest with you, I'm the first person to be like, it ain't me, it's these, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
But then I was like, nah, girl, because you in the equation too. So let's not even talk about them, because we do that a lot. We always want to center them in what they
Yep.
doing and this, that,
Yep.
and third. But
Yep.
with you and doing the intentional work with you and in therapy, I have learned a lot of things, and I pretty much recognize why,
Yep.
I
Yep.
have not been able to get the type of relationship I want.
Yeah.
And
Ah.
the number one thing is, when we talk about those boundaries, that's something that therapy has had to help me with, not even with me, but with my family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because if you're bad at setting boundaries with men, I guarantee you it's showing up in your like
in
other
every area of your
relationships.
life.
100%, because you are you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, what did you just say? And there it went. Hold on. You said something right there. Give me about 30 seconds. Hold on. Otherwise, we'll just move on. Hold on. There it is. Woo. Holy Spirit work. Here we go. Here is what high achieving Black women do. We assume, because we're so good in our professional careers, we got our home, we're good at like the self-care with the massages, we're good at doing this, even therapy, that it must be them niggas. It must be.
It gotta be.
It gotta be. Because I'm amazing. Look at me. And so why can't he see that and then just become what I need him to be? We don't actually realize it is in our fumbling of the boundaries that we allow men to treat us like crap. And when you do intentional work on yourself, it is not pretty. How many tears have we had together, Nikita? How many times I had to look at myself and be like, baby, it's you. Yeah. It's you. The only way people can treat you that way is because you allow it. Mm-hmm. And that is why I say, how do you show yourself you love yourself? Oh, it's in your boundaries. If you can get boundaries down, it is everything, right? And in order to do that, your mindset has to shift. And I believe, and I know from you, you told me that I helped you with a lot of unlearning to relearn. Mm-hmm. Okay. So talk about what you meant by that. Obviously we said, the Black church, our parents did us a disservice by just saying, well, wait till you get married. Mm-hmm. But there was no breakdown. So obviously there was something different in Single You Academy that you got. So yeah, talk about that.
I think for me, you definitely helped me tap into like that self-trust.
Yeah.
I grew up, I was definitely that child that was very in tune with themselves and their emotions and all of that. But I think obviously life, you grow up, things harden you a little bit. But just unlearning that whole, like, I think one thing I really loved about the whole, like, you can be kind and you can still be like, no, this is not for me. I think a lot of Black women, and I've done this, I know that I have thought that who I am will change the man.
Yeah.
It's like, surely I'm a good person, so all this goodness will jump off on him, and or surely I'm amazing, he'll appreciate that. But the thing is, if a person does not love themselves, if a person has not worked on themselves, they cannot be with they can be with somebody, but it's not going to be healthy. It's not going to be successful. And you just helped me learn, like, I don't have to sacrifice myself, my boundaries, what I want to appease. And I mean, I've known this, but we really got to the root of that in single you, right? And a lot of that is just obviously what the way we've been conditioned, you know, we're supposed to be graceful and all of that. But the people pleasing, when you're trying to please somebody so much that you go against what your inner knowing, you know what I'm saying? That part of yourself that speaks to you. And I think that God gives that gift to women for a reason. But when we meet these men, it's just like all of it just go out the window, and we just be like, I'll compromise a little bit. And I think you have just helped me realize even more that I don't have to do that.
Not to you, especially because, again, we call ourselves women of faith.
Yeah.
So you have to believe that what you want is a healthy relationship. And you have to believe that you can get that, even by saying, that's not meant for me. I'm gonna go ahead and set a boundary here. And I really liked him. But you have to have belief in the fact that there's somebody else. But that's where we falter with our boundaries, because we don't believe that there is somebody else. Why can't it be him, God? And God is like, because I didn't make him for you. Move on. Move on. And we don't do that. And another thing that we should be investigating is when Eve took a bite of the apple and she ruined everything for us, right? Because that's why we have pains during our period. That's why pregnancy is painful and this and that. And and he did say your seed will be against his seed, right? We should probably investigate what that means and how to avoid that as much as possible. As much as possible, because none of us will ever be perfect. But I do believe that God does want us to live in a more, God wants us to have as much peace as possible on this rock called earth. He wants us to be in peace and not be in fear. That's why the Bible talks about do not fear all the time. I am with you. If you are for me, who could be against you, or something like that, or I'm for you. But again, we're not actually studying not only ourselves, but definitely not the Bible. But when the Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself, don't we think we should investigate what thyself means? How do I love myself?
Yeah.
How do I do that? Because I got to figure this single life out first before I get into the next relationship. And you said something. You said you used to think like being kind was staying, right? Staying in these situations. And thinking that my kindness will turn him into the man that I want. And I think that's where a lot of us faith-based, especially faith-based Black women, fail, because we have no idea what that means. We don't realize that me being kind to you and loving thy neighbor has nothing to do with me and you being together.
No, that's me honoring your humanity.
Yeah.
And then also honoring my own humanity and saying, this is not for me.
Yep. Yeah.
I wish you well in life. God bless.
God bless. And let him go. As much as it hurts and sucks, like it be sucking because he be fine. Like, let's get to the real. He be fine. Okay?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Right. Because there be some ones you like, why did I date him again? I don't even know. Okay. Let's go into let's see here. You said that you didn't really understand, or you said that you wanted a man with good character. Before Single You Academy, did you actually know what that meant and how to get it?
I think I knew what that meant, but I don't think I was thinking intentionally about what that means. When you say you want somebody with good character, I'll just give you an example. It's really important for me to be with someone who is inclusive to everybody's humanity, and not when it's just convenient. So somebody who's kind, right? So like how you treat the people that can do nothing for you, right? Like if we go out to eat and you
absolutely how they're treating the waiter.
You talking crazy to the waiter, and it's like, why are you talking crazy to them like that? You know, or you're demeaning them because they are a waiter. Like,
right.
I mean, it just sucks. And so really unpacking, what does good character look like to Nikita? Not what everybody else tell me it's supposed to look like, but what does that mean when I say that? Like
Yeah.
a lot of the things that I feel like in Single You we would talk about, you would say, well, what does that mean to you? Because a lot
Yeah.
of us, we say these things, but it's
Yep.
because of, you know, everything else going on in the background, the white
Yep.
noise. And so really
Yep.
being intentional about, when I say I want a person with good character, when I say I want somebody who is spiritual, when I say, you know, I want somebody who is supportive,
Yep. Yep.
what does that mean for me?
Yep.
Because what I need and what I want is going to be different from what you need and what you want.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
just really unpacking that, and also making sure that the same things that I'm requesting or wanting, that I
Mhm.
am that as well,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
I think is it 𝘠𝘬𝘳𝘓? You said what channel is your radio station on? Maybe you mean my podcast. So Single You, the podcast, is on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, all streaming platforms. Okay. And a new episode drops every Thursday. The one that I'm recording now with Nikita will be available this a week from yesterday. There we go. This Thursday coming up. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. All right. So just like you said, I am always asking you and my clients, okay, but what does that mean to you? Let's define it for yourself. Because again, somebody will tell us, oh, get a man, make sure you get a man with good character. Okay, but what does that mean if we've never actually seen that example, right?
yeah,
And nobody actually had the conversation with us. I am an analytical person, and I need things broken down for me. And so that's how I feel like I deliver Single You Academy. Now, can some people do it on their own or what have you, or they, had the best parents that had these conversations with them? Sure. But I am here for you, the faith-based Black woman who is struggling, who is on that edge of like, this cannot be life. Where Nikita was like, this dating cycle that I'm in, I don't need to be in this again. And how do I get out? And I know that there aren't a lot of channels to help you start, right? There's not a lot of channels for wise counsel. So that is why I'm here. This is why I created Single You Academy. So I hope that you are hearing Nikita as she's speaking about what she thought before Single You Academy and what she thinks now. And so let's get into that even more. So the woman that you were before Single You Academy, I heard you say you were recycling guys, right? What were your relationships like that led you to the moment of like, this is not it? Do you have a story of relationships that you were in? You were like, nobody should be in this relationship. This was not healthy. Tell us one of those stories.
I so I moved to Kansas when I turned 30. Like literally,
Okay.
I turned 30 a couple days later. I moved to Kansas. So I've been out here for about 5 or 6 years. And the pattern that I noticed that began to frustrate me was that in the beginning, like, you know, a guy would be like enamored with me, like, oh my God, you're amazing, and blah, blah, blah. But then as time went on, it it's almost like the rose colored glasses would come off, and like you
Mhm.
really, instead of me taking the time to actually get to know the person,
Mhm.
I'm already like romanticizing, like, oh my God, this is gonna
Yeah.
be my boo and all of this
Yep.
crap.
Yep.
But it's like, if you really take the time to get to know somebody, you'll start to learn things about them, and um talking to them.
Mhm.
And even with talking to guys, sometimes you got to be mindful of that too, but you got to pay attention. Because I remember you told me, like, when you meet a guy, your biggest concern should be his, build a friendship
Yep.
and collect data and talk to
Mhm.
him, because
Mhm.
the more you talk to somebody, you will begin to learn things. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
for me, the relationship pattern or the situationship pattern was just, one, moving too fast, and then two, um not bypassing red flags,
Yeah.
versus like I would notice a red flag and in my mind I'd be like, I don't really like that. But I was like, well, I could learn to like that, you know?
Mhm.
And there was a video that you showed us with Darius Daniels, and he was
Mhm.
like, for the Christians, like, stop trying to make yourself like stuff that you don't like. Like, being a Christian doesn't
Yep.
mean like
Yep.
you gotta settle and just be like, oh well, I don't like that, but I'm still,
Yep. Yep.
go about it anyway. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it, and that's okay. And me learning that I'm not for everyone, and everyone is not for me.
Yep.
You know, and I think for me, I was trying to force that.
Yeah.
Essentially. And that has been the pattern.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and it was at your detriment, right? Like it left you frustrated and like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So I wrote down, I loved this, you know, when you said that, you know, obviously we talked about this, the more you have to talk to guys as you're getting to know them. And when you're learning them, you're data collecting, you do that so you understand what you are equipped for.
Yeah.
But in order to understand what you are equipped for, you have to go on this journey of learning who you are.
Yeah.
When you don't know who you are, you'll say things like, oh, I could get used to that. That's fine. I'll be okay with that. But no, but when you know yourself, you could be like, nope, 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 I'm not gonna be able to do that. Nope, nope. And you bypass this thought process of, but love is patient and love is kind, and I have to be a kind human, and Jesus would want me to stay with him. No, Jesus did not say that. If he is not built for you, God is like, what are you doing? Read
Truly.
my word. Truly, because I told you bad company corrupts good character. I told you to guard your heart, but you ain't doing none of that if you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You haven't even read the manual of who you are at all. When my Honda literally just had a light on that was like TPMS or whatever. I was like, I don't know what this means, but guess what I did? Read the manual. To figure it out. Because just because you can drive a car doesn't mean you know exactly what that car is. So just because, and what it does and what the symbols mean and what the dings mean and the lights and whatever. So just because you're with you every day doesn't mean you actually know who you are.
Yeah.
Because if you don't ever go on an intentional journey, good luck. Good luck. Okay. So now that I brought that up, I wrote this down to ask you. The scripture, love is patient, love is kind, love isn't self-seeking. Do you feel like because you went through Single You Academy, you have a better understanding of what that is now?
Yeah. But I also think the church always throws that at us. We learned that as kids, but we never really stopped to think about, when you go line by line, what that means.
Yeah.
You know, patience, right? So like when a partner, the person is mad at you, how do they treat you?
Yeah.
When they didn't have a bad day, or when you are not in a mindset where you're not being patient, you know, how do they treat you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just really unpacking that and what that means, because we love quoting things, but we don't love unpacking the meaning.
Right. And because
we love to, and the church loves to like throw all these things at us, and it's never no like intentional dialogue about it. Nope. You know, like we being in like what was the thing called Vacation Bible School growing up?
Yeah.
And you know, even in church, they used to be like, don't have sex, but they never really like, we didn't have no like real tea conversations. You know, a lot of us are really unlearning the stuff from like childhood and teenage years now as adults. And it's like, why couldn't we have those types of conversations back then?
Yeah.
And I also feel like girls, for women, Black women, it was put on us way more than the dudes, which is, you know.
Right. Girl, I don't know. No, I've asked so many guys who grew up in church, like, what did they tell you about sex? Because they told us to wait and keep our drawers up and our dress down. And they'd be like, nothing. Because my uncles would be like, they learn from their uncles. There ain't nobody in church telling little boys. Yeah, there ain't nobody in church telling little boys to keep their drawers up, and they don't wear dresses unless, you know, but, keep their pants up basically. And why? Having those intentional conversations, which is exact. I love that you said that, because you're so right. That is exactly what Single You Academy is. And I just want to touch on the love is patient again, right? That scripture. So love is patient, right? Before we actually do the work on ourselves and get our mindset right around our singleness, we think, oh, he's doing this thing that I don't like. I need to be patient and hope that he will change. I'm gonna hope and pray.
Yes.
When he's been that way for 35 years.
Yeah. People, a lot of us have patterns. Yeah. Characteristics. And so patience, yes, you need that, but not to endure like an unhealthy situation,
100%
situation.
You said that perfectly. You said that so perfectly.
Yes, it's like long suffering doesn't mean like, oh, you need to be with a dude who been cheating on you for 5 years.
No, in the name of God. I know people who won't get a divorce or break up. And honestly, I'm never talking to married women when I'm speaking. Unless you feel that I'm talking to you, I'm always talking about women who are just dating. You made no vows to this man, so you don't owe him anything. Bye.
Mm-mm.
You don't know, you don't owe anybody anything but the love of Jesus. And sometimes that means walking away. Jesus walked away from many people.
All the
and
time.
and there is scripture in the Bible that talks about walking away from people. Okay. So okay, let's talk about your solo trip that you took during 𝘠𝘠𝘬𝘢 Academy. I know that it was something you wanted to do before 𝘠𝘠𝘢 Academy, but you didn't have the courage or something, and then you did it while you were in 𝘠𝘠𝘢 Academy. So talk about that, how you changed your mind throughout 𝘠𝘠𝘢 Academy to go on a solo trip.
It was really crazy. I had already like spoken it into the atmosphere like New Year's Eve prior, and I remember telling my best friend, like, I really think that's what I want to do when I turn 35. And you know, in my mind, I was like, one, Black woman in America traveling solo international, is that safe? You know, I had all these reasons why I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know, people was like, oh, you want to be by yourself on your birthday? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I think I was just afraid because I've never taken a international solo trip. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Right.
just a trip where it's me, myself, and I'm doing the things that I want to do. And I just feel like, again, being in therapy, getting 𝘠𝘠𝘢, I'm like, I'm nurturing this relationship with myself. I want to take more trips. Before I had taken that solo birthday trip. Well, prior to 2021, I hadn't really taken any trips. And so I was just like, what am I waiting on? You know what I'm saying? And the trip was everything and more that I could have asked for. I literally did everything that I wanted to do. Now, were there moments where I was like, damn, I wish my friends was here? Yeah, but that was just at like the pool when you see the people like turning up with their friends. But I made friends. I'm a friendly person. So
yeah.
But it's just something special about being able to be in your own company and actually enjoy it. And I wanted that solitude to reflect and recharge and think about as I move into my mid 30s, like what do I want my life to look like in the next 5 years? And I honestly don't want singleness to be the reason why I don't live my life. Like I feel like a lot of single Black women, you know, it's like you waiting on this man to fall out the sky or whatever the case may be to before you buy a house, before you do all these things. And it's like, no, I can do these things now. And what I learned on that trip, one, how much I love myself and I am a dope person to hang out with, but also like people are uncomfortable when you are a woman and you by yourself. Like the amount of times that I got asked in Mexico in Spanish, like, where's your new novio? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I was lying and saying I had a fiance, but it's just because I was traveling by myself. But you know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, you be safe, but you did.
That ain't your business. But yeah, it was just like people, they were like, oh, you by yourself. And it was like people would treat me different because I was by myself. So they would like go above and beyond for me. And I was like, why is this making people so uncomfortable? Versus I saw men that were by themselves and nobody was asking them that type of stuff. But for me, I was just like, this is wild. And it's like, why does my life have to be centered in me having somebody? Like, why can't it just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand, but I get what it is. It's the patriarchy. It's the
100%.
We have been conditioned, and you know, you don't have value, because this also is what perpetuates why a lot of single people don't like being single. It's like you don't have value if you're not attached to something else. 100%. You know. And I have worked extremely hard. I've been working since I was like 14.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I moved across the United States to a different, like, by myself. So it's just kind of like, I know that I have value. I am worthy, whether I am attached to another human or not. And so I feel like people was like, wow, she had the audacity to go across the country on her birthday. You know, I told you what my family members was like. They didn't believe it. And I was like, they was like, well, you could tell us the truth. Who are you over there with? And I told my parents, one, I would never go out of the country with a man that y'all ain't met.
Right. Like, at least I know how to be that safe. Come on.
Like, I mean, no shade, but the white girls, they be with these men, they turn up dead and everybody looking for them. A black woman go missing. Don't nobody give a damn. So
ain't nobody look for you but your family.
But I just found I tapped into a different level of liberation, and just, I was like, I did this, like I did it all by myself, and I told you when I came back, I was like, I feel like can't nobody unfuckwittable, like can't nobody fuck with me, because there is nothing. And you asked this question, and this was like, it's a very simple question, super fucking mind blowing for me. But like, you was like, what is it that a man can do for you that you already can't do for yourself? And the answer was nothing. And I remember texting my girlfriends, like, girl, she was like, you know how you text your girlfriend, they're like, bitch, that's a. And it's true, at this point, I want a partner. You know what I'm saying? I don't want a project or any of that.
And a purpose partner. And I remember you said that to you. You remember?
Yes, purpose partner. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, because now you're tapping into what your purpose is, right? And what you want to be doing for the rest of your life, right? And yes, that will evolve and change as you get older and change, but you want somebody who's going to be there for that. It's not about, because one of my friends, one of my male friends was asking me, why are you, okay, let me take a few steps back. We were talking about my abstinence. And he was like, wow, a lot of women, especially in Atlanta, he's from Atlanta. He said a lot of Black women have just given up on that dream, but I guess you're not. And I said, no. And it's not about trying to get this man to tap dance for me. It's more about me and how I feel about me. Right. And I feel like the thought that I had, it went somewhere and now I can't find it.
So I'm gonna say this, because I feel you on the abstinence thing. I told you I was stuck it out for 6 years. But I'm gonna say this to any woman that is listening to your voice, listen to this podcast. If sex was the thing to keep a man, where are all the men that you have had sex with?
Girl.
Where they at? Where are they at? And let's go a little step further. If sex was the thing that kept a man, then why is it that a Cardi B, who is, in my opinion, very sexually liberated, continues to get cheated on? So that's what I'm saying. Sex is physically, it's a great feeling. It's pleasurable. But if sex was the thing that was going to keep a dude, me and you both will be married by now. We are
100%.
We are not. So it's and I get it. People love to, because people used to tell me, you ain't gonna never get no dude who ain't gonna want to have sex. I know that. We're sexual beings. It's a difference between a man who only wants to have sex with you and a man who intimately wants to get to know you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just wish I can rewind what you said, because I had a thought and it was so good. So now when I'm editing this, I'm going to hear it and then I'll have to tell you what it was, because dang it, because it was something along those lines of something you said and I was going to tie it into being abstinent. But anyway, okay, let's do this. I'm going to read to you some of the things that you have sent to me.
Okay.
Saying, and I want you to tell me why you said it, like where your mind's at. These are things that you learned in Single You Academy.
Okay.
You said, my discernment has been on 1,000 lately. I'm never mean-spirited, but my intuition has been spot on. And I said to you, girl, we've been doing all this intentional work. It better be. Like, that's my point. I'm here to raise your discernment levels. So why did you say that?
You gave us a book to read by 𝘠𝘬𝘳 𝘕𝘓𝘗. Shout out to Auntie 𝘠𝘬𝘳. Trust. In that book talks a lot about self-trust. Typically, when I have been talking to dudes, I second guess, like, am I tripping? Like, how I'm feeling, things like that. But again, in conjunction with you and therapy and just doing my self-work, I've not been wrong when my intuition has told me something about someone who may be interested in me.
Yeah.
It's literally spot on. And usually I would say, well, no, I'm tripping. It's not that. But I'm like, no, lean into that. And it's been spot on every time.
Yep.
Every time. And it's like, I think what's happening is that the more I have leaned into trusting myself, God is also working in the spiritual realm and saying, see, that's that because that's a God gift. And we talk about that all the time. That inner knowing that you have as a woman,
Yeah.
if something feels
100%.
off to you, if it feels sketchy, that's what it is. And so not talking myself out of what I know because I want something. I want that. Because I was good for that. I'm gonna be honest. I was good for that. I was one of them. Well, no, that's not what it is. That's what it is.
100%. Because this is what it is. There's two things that's happening when you are bypassing red flags that your God voice, your gut is telling you he's not the one. Here is what it is. We think that being a Christian, again, being kind, having patience, staying with him, I can get over that. I can change him for me. You're falling for the potential of what you want him to be in your mind. We always say that don't fall for potential. Half the time, it's not even about him. It's really about what you believe he can become because of your goodness and grace, because you think you God. So you can change this man into what you want him to be. So we bypass the red flag. And then the second thing is because we want to be married. So we stay, and we let this man walk all over us just so we can get this little ring. So society will finally give us 1,000 likes on our picture on Instagram. That's what we want. That's why we stay. That is why we stay. And everything Nikita is telling you, mind you, and I know you did say something different to me before, because I feel like the stuff that I say to you, when people show you who they are, believe them, know yourself, know your worth, is everything that you had heard before you met me. But there's something different about what I teach in Single You Academy that gets you to be the woman who is now finally happy, truly happy in her singleness. You settle down in yourself. You figure out who you are, which then helps you learn how to set and keep boundaries with men, with yourself, with people. You settle into that. And then that's where your pure happiness and joy comes from. So then when you date from that seat, you ain't going to be looking at, oh, he could be this and I need to be kind because Jesus said, and hopefully he'll become this and let me be this ride or die. And all of that is now gone because now your mindset has changed. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what do you think that you learned in Single You Academy? Did we already answer this question? Anyway, I'm gonna ask because I have two more. I have that question and I have one more.
Okay.
What do you think was the difference then? Because before you joined Single You Academy, you knew Maya Angelou's quote: "When people show you who they are, believe them."
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Mm-hmm. We talked about this quote. I had never heard it to where we watched that video with her and Oprah, mm-hmm. and she said, "Believe them the first time."
Yes.
I had never heard that version of that quote.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, wow. And it's just kind of one of those things where once the person shows you, not the second, the third, or fourth time, because by that time it's like, well, you knew this from the beginning.
Yep. Now you're playing yourself.
And so when you showed us that video and she said, believe them the first time, I'm going to be honest. I said, I'm going to be intentional and believe people the first time. Because yes, I've been applying what we learned to like this whole dating thing, but I've also been applying it into life in general, like friendships, family. When people show you how they feel about you and they show you how they treat you, how they feel about you, you have to believe that about them. You can't. I do believe in evolution. I do believe in growth. Mm-hmm. But what I think is the difference for me is that I was ready to be honest with myself about where I was when it came to love and dating, and saying to myself, Nikita, this is an area of your life where you have cried. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I've always been in horrible relationships. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it has never, at least in my adulthood, because I think, teenage love, puppy love, all of that. But in my adult life, I have not gotten what it is that I know that I deeply desire. I want a partner.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have not gotten that. And so I think for me, the difference now is that I applied that intentionally, and I was doing my inner work, and it has not been easy. I mean, every time we had sessions, I was crying in your sessions. I was crying in therapy.
Yep.
And I remember my therapist saying, like, forgive yourself for allowing yourself to be mishandled. Just because you have been mishandled, it doesn't mean that you're not a diamond, you know. And then we come into the space with you and you're like,
yes,
forgive yourself for the times that you didn't know better. But now that you do, you're going to do better, you know, because, well, I feel like I'm doing better. I can't speak for all your clients, but I'm doing better. And I just think I knew I was changing. And because I remember that session we had where I told you, I was like, I feel like I'm falling in love with myself. I'm unpacking, I'm being vulnerable with myself. I'm being honest about this area of my life. And I'm not afraid or ashamed to say that I needed a coach to help me unpack and work through some of this stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of my clients say, you know, even though they have therapy and therapy is great, and I will always encourage people to go to therapy, your therapist is not necessarily working with you in this particular lane.
True.
Like, I have my lane, and I'm like, I'm going to help you discover your worth and help you learn how to set and keep boundaries. Are you going to get more from that? Absolutely. But this is my lane that I stay in, where therapy is all over the place, as it should be, because you got a lot of childhood stuff we got to work out. There's a lot of things that a therapist will help you with. Now, there are some therapists who are now coaches because they realize having a particular niche, man, baby, I can help. You know, it's like being somebody who's like, I'm going to be your weight loss coach. I'm going to be your financial coach. I'm your singleness coach. That's why I call myself the single girl's life coach, because you have to live a great single life. Look, my alarm going off because it's telling me I got a meeting in 15 minutes. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I'm in this particular lane because you have to get your singleness right. Because again, if Paul said it is better to be single, we have to investigate that. What does that mean? And I feel like in Single You Academy, that's what we do. So let's end on this question. She's listening right now.
Okay.
Someone who's been on the fence like you were before you joined Single You Academy. And she's like, I really resonate with Nikita's story, with your story, Nikita. And I know that this cycle with men cannot continue. Why should she join Single You Academy?
You know, well, one, the best work that you will ever do in your life is your self-work. You should join if you are ready to be intentional about your self-work and if you are ready to be honest with yourself. Even if you are hesitant or you feeling ashamed about it, at the end of the day, when you go on to glory, when you stand up there, it's not going to be nobody else. It's going to be yourself, you know? And so what greater gift than to work on yourself and love yourself? Like, the greatest love story you will ever have is the one about yourself. And that is what Single You has absolutely reassured me, that nobody is going to love Nikita the way that I love Nikita. So nobody's going to love you the way you going to love you. And so if you are ready to do that, if you are committed to doing that, I say Single You is the place to start. Yeah. And Rika is cool. You know, Rika loves God, but Rika is real. And I think that's the difference between you and a lot of the Instagram gurus who, honestly, in my opinion, just want to make a profit. You know, I think with you genuinely care about your clients. Also, you're very particular about who you choose. You know, you do an interview process and you let the Holy Spirit lead you. But I remember telling God, if this is something I'm supposed to do, if I'm supposed to be in relationship and community with this woman and her platform, please, God, open this door. If this is the work I'm supposed to be doing on myself, open this door. And it literally happened in like 3 days after we had talked. And so if you are ready to do that, if you're ready to just release courage, release the fear to enter into the courage of really tapping into yourself, then join Single You. I don't think you will not regret it. Yeah. You will not regret it at all.
I love that. There's so much I could say, but because I have another meeting here in about 10 minutes, let me just say this. I want to touch on, you said I'm very intentional and I let the Holy Spirit lead me for who my clients are going to be. Absolutely. Because I want to make sure that the promise that I say I give, helping you discover your worth and helping you learn how to set and keep boundaries, is what I deliver. And if you're looking for somebody to teach you how to date, I am not the one. I am a boundaries coach and I'm a self-love coach. Now, the side effect of that is dating with purpose and
Yeah,
dating with intention. Okay. But I am not here to promise you a boyfriend, because I can't. How can I promise you that and God doesn't? That's not
exactly.
in the Bible. It's not in the Bible. I cannot promise you you will be married in a year because of Single You Academy. So I don't promise that. And so I want to make sure that's not what you're looking for. I want to make sure that you are someone who is ready. You are ready to intentionally do the work. You are ready to invest in yourself, just like you do when you're climbing up this HR ladder, this corporate ladder, whatever. You spend money in those areas, but have they helped you in this area of your life? No. So if you need a place to start with me, because you've read all the books before, you've heard the affirmations before. They are telling you what to do, but they are not telling you the woman that you need to become to execute the information you're receiving about self-love. Therefore, you'll never be able to set and keep boundaries. And that's all I'm going to say. So Single You Academy is open. You know the drill. If you are interested in joining Single You Academy, send me the word boundaries. All you have to do is DM me boundaries. I promise you I'll know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna be like, what is this? I have no idea. This is the weirdest thing. No, I want to coach you. Okay. So send me the word boundaries. I have 5 spots. I just opened 5 spots available. You will fill out the application, and the new cohort is not going to start till about January. I think it's January 10th. I'm not looking at my calendar right now, but I believe it's January 10th. So we're going to start after Christmas, after the new year. But I know you're going to be making your New Year's resolutions about, well, I ain't never going to date a man like that again. And you're going to have all this vibrato and attitude. And I promise you by February, because Valentine's Day will be rolling around, you'll be back in the I suck as a single woman space. And I want to get you out of that mindset. Okay. So go ahead and send me the word boundaries. Nikita, is there anything else you need to say before we get off?
Singleness is not a punishment. It is a time for you to just have freedom and liberation for yourself, and once you can reframe singleness to be healthy, you will have a better perspective, but you will also have a more holistic life, because you won't be waiting for somebody to come and take this label off of me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whether you with somebody or not, you're great. And I can say that I believe that now. I know that, and I would rather be by myself than out here with a Derek Jackson. So remember that. And that's on period.
and that is on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Okay. Thank you for watching here on Facebook. I'm going to end this broadcast.